So who has the 100-word summary of the trouble you guys got into last session?
So we had finally, we finally met Lady Sonovaria, the lich we were supposed to secure aid from in the coming war against the forces of Mammon / the Lord of Blades, and then she's like, "I'm just gonna not do that. Bye."
Is that what happened?
She turned to dust.
That is exactly what happened.
Sounds pretty accurate.
She said, "I'm going to leave, such that nothing from this world will follow me." Like that, I believe those were your words, and it's like, that seems pretty final to me. Okay.
No, but listen, we learned the power of a lever with sufficient torque, and then we got an extremely powerful stick. Now we just need to use it as a lever. Right?
The only trace of her at this point is a harp that we are putting on the sledge with our elk. And, I guess our next step is going to go back and talk to, Breniar.
So there were there were many treasures that you found at the end of the adventure. And the Lich told you that when she is gone, you can use any of the resources of Voronoct for whatever ends you see fit. But three of these treasures in particular are kind of the standouts of the Horde.
I think, is one of them that Staff of the Magi that Wendy is now carting about?
I don't know any Staff of the Magi, but I do have a new staff, which is called the Sufficiently Powerful Lever, which will be applied to crack open the world.
So that's one of them.
Oh, I could hear the contempt in Brickroad's voice on that. That was beautiful.
I guess we paw through the castle some more and,
The second one was, Adridia's spellbook, right?
No, she does not have a spellbook, but you found 2 documents.
I thought we found her spellbook.
We found
Birdie was given a book on quintessence.
Yeah, I remembered that, but I thought we found a different. All right, never mind.
We found a codex of military tactics that were used against the Lord of Blades during the last Cataclysm, or before the last Cataclysm.
And this history describes other spires like the Obsidian one.
Yep. Yes, and one
of
them
which
is
made
this
of gold.
Yeah, that's where I think we're heading next after we have a word with Breniar.
And the third, I think Birdie took it. Oh, I'm not sure Birdie shared it with anybody. Was a schematic for a ship that flies.
Yeah, that's right.
No, Birdie definitely shared that with us because he was tremendously excited about it.
Yeah, he was definitely pointing that out to everyone.
So, because Treble's not here this week, every single scene we can just envision him just laying on the ground, curled up, being like, "Everything's made of stuff."
He's having a relapse from being exposed to the code of the Matrix.
I just more picture him just constantly pointing at things we find and just going, "But check out this shit! Look at it! Look at it! It's here!"
He's holding some literal shit that the elk just dropped.
I feel like it's more like, it's the restaurant at the end of the world where they have the ultimate perspective machine? that completely warps and destroys your mind because it shows you just how infinitesimal humanity is in the grand scheme of everything.
I don't know.
That sounds about right.
That.
Must not be that small if we could build that kick-ass machine.
This sounds like a paradox.
So the first decision to make is what, if anything, do you do to or with the other denizens of the castle that you're leaving behind? There's Bindicken, the Ant Keeper, there is the Necromancer, and there is the Goblin Glassblower.
So
Yep.
Territory.
Bindicken and the Necromancer, are those the two separate people? Anyways, the Necromancer
Yes.
and the Antkeeper both said that they were going to kind of take over the castle and use it for whatever nefarious-ish purposes they might have.
So that's true, but here's the thing, is there's no longer any magical protections on the castle. Daedra Daya is no longer here to keep the castle secure from outside invaders, one of which would be the Ice King.
Yeah.
Leaving them here to their own devices, though they could probably survive well enough, it's kind of a question of how long.
Is the window inert that goes from that rotates?
It is not inert. It is
Shouldn't be, because
retained
that
its
was
magic.
created by the demon that we killed, not the Lich.
That's correct.
Right, so
It would have already failed.
either they can maintain control of this place, in which case they're welcome to stay here, or they can peace out through a window, or they can come with us. Any of the three I'm fine with, but
Should we destroy this key? This is just too dangerous to have.
Probably.
what if there's a useful use for it?
Windy.
I mean, with the other magics of the keep gone, I don't see a need to like destroy it so it doesn't fall into the hands of something evil.
Right, so let's just keep holding onto ourselves, because I mean, destroying the key won't mean that nobody can open up holes to the void or whatever. It just means that we can't. Like, the knowledge doesn't go away just because we don't have it.
I could
Next time
probably. I
on
mean,
Hoarder,
it's just a
the pattern
lock.
would
I
just
could
form as the wind
probably.
flows over the sand.
Examining the lock on the window,
Mm-hmm.
Do you attempt to pick it?
I want to see if I think it's possible.
Maybe we should get Adrex over here to see if it's magic.
Go ahead and make that check, Destil.
Is that lockpicks tools?
Yeah, Thieves' Tools.
Thieves tools. It's 22.
22. And what's your passive arcana?
+2.
Okay.
12.
Mechanically, the lock is pickable. The key that Daedra Daya had given you is just a regular key that fits into this lock, and the mechanics of it will open if you pick it. That much you're able to determine.
Can I make an Arcana roll on it?
Excuse me.
To what end, Adrex?
Figure out if there's magic attached to that lock.
Well, there's definitely magic attached to it, because it's attached to a crazy portal window that links to 8 other dimensions.
And that's how Adrex describes it. There's definitely magic on it, because everything else is magical.
I mean, I don't know enough about magic to disprove that.
Alright, I guess I'll just hold on to the key then.
Okay. Do you show the others how to work this window?
Yeah.
The tomatoes were tasty or not? I'm trying to remember.
They were delicious.
Yeah, totally.
But in any case, this window will give you a route to basically, if this place does become overrun, you have an escape route to somewhere else.
All right, and be sure to join us next campaign when the human city gets invaded by giant acid-spitting ants.
Oh, he's gonna die soon. He won't be able to
survive a fall
giant-
from 300 feet.
Not giant ones. Small
Exactly.
ones would.
Yeah, small ones would.
So you guys are loading up the Lich's Heart onto your sledge
Yeah.
and starting the long journey back.
Mm-hmm.
Wendy has the staff. Who has the book? Who has the map?
Raazu does.
Okay, and who has the airship schematic?
I would say
Probably
Adrex does.
Okay.
Adrex is holding the schematics and the quintessence book. Which, by the
Because
way,
Birdie's
Adrex
grip
still-
is tremendously light at the moment.
Yeah. And he is reading that book to try and recreate the high that Birdie is on.
Well, you can't read the airship schematic. It's written in Gnomish.
Aha.
So basically, you can't read any of it, but you can look at the pretty pictures.
Yep. Perfect.
Pictures and diagrams of machinery, and you're not sure if there's any magic involved or not, but the machinery looks incredibly complex.
Birdie, I found all three differences.
Any
Sorry.
sufficiently advanced magic is indistinguishable from technology.
Wendy, I need a wisdom saving throw, please.
Okay, I'm theoretically good at these.
Does Wendy get Raazu's +5 bonus?
Yeah, sure.
Alright.
is this magic or a spell then?
Wow, you give him one thing.
What was the question?
Is this magic or a spell?
No.
Okay.
Alright, that is a 12. Does that pass?
A 12 does not pass. How did you get a
Alright.
12?
Because I rolled really badly. Key point, that is a 24.
24. The journey back to Wizard's Folly is long and arduous, and I'm assuming you're not stopping anywhere else on the way. Like, there's no reason to head back to, like, Lady Elaine's encampments.
Well, we
Or-
should at least give that ring back to her. It was a loan. Raazu would feel kind of obligated to do that.
Okay, so you are traveling back to her encampment?
What did we promise her? Shit, I feel like we promised her something.
Nothing. This is
gun.
this is a loan. This
Right, because
string
we
was a
killed
loan.
the giant. The
The
yeah.
Remorazes. Yep.
yeah. All right, so we can go back there.
It's a little over a week's journey. And Wendy, your days are plagued with headaches as you're traveling. They're not debilitating. They're not inhibiting you in any way, but they're very uncomfortable, and the source of them is mysterious. You've never encountered this type of headache before.
To be clear, Wendy blames the staff.
Okay. So, like, you just
Not with any particular purpose. Like, maybe just take it over and show it to Birdie at some point. Hey. Well, I guess Adrex.
Yeah,
Ah.
Adrex. Adrex
But-
is qualified.
Wendy is essentially, like, as soon as she realizes she's getting this headache's probably just going to spend the trip essentially trying to meditate on the cause of them.
Okay. And the weather darkens and gets worse as you make your way back to Lady Elaine's encampment, which itself was a good, I think it was a week and a half from the Patrolman's Road.
Mm-hmm.
So, Wendy, you spend your downtime, you spend your rests meditating on the cause of these headaches. Are you letting your companions know about them?
I mean, I would have told Adrex but I mean, I'm not hiding it, but I'm also just not like telling it to everyone.
Adrex, roll a medicine check at disadvantage.
That is a 9.
A 9. As you're marching, all of you notice that Wendy seems to be course correcting a lot as you're moving along. Like, for some reason, she'll veer off to one direction rather than stay the course that you all are marching, and she'll have to correct herself and right herself back on the path. And this is very unlike Wendy. And this behavior does coincide with the headaches that she gets from time to time throughout the day. Other than this, the travel back to Lady Olaine's encampment is very uncomfortable. Very wet, very exhausting, and none of you know what Lady Olaine is likely to do if you come rolling up in your encampment with this 8-year-old orc girl in tow.
I think maybe the lot of you should keep the distance, and I can handle this business with Lady Olaine, and we can be on our way.
We could also just leave her stuff here and go on our own way. Like, we don't owe her anything.
I know we do. Well, we owe her this ring. That's it. And I mean,
Right. That's what I'm saying. Just leave her stuff here. Make our own way.
Yeah, I might get lost in the snow.
yeah, especially in this weather.
I thought we had a sledge.
You do.
Doesn't she own the sledge?
No.
No.
It's the great,
Oh, it's our sledge?
Yeah.
Ah, that's right. Okay, yes. I remember now. Okay, yeah. That sounds fair enough, Raazu. Go ahead. You're the most diplomatic of us.
Well, Red just doesn't care.
Right.
The most diplomatic person that cares.
Exactly.
Raazu,
Hey,
what do you tell Lady Olaine about the endeavors inside of Voronoct Keep? Look at all these dice.
Raazu tries to give her as little information as possible because she knows that Ben Bicken is a deserter, and that Lady Olaine is probably very likely to go and have his head.
Make a deception check.
Yeah. I believe I'm trading that stuff in deception-y. Character sheet decided to not. Okay. $18.
Do you tell her that the Lord of the Keep is dead?
Yes.
Okay. What's Raazu's passive insight?
11.
She expresses gratitude when you return her ring. And maybe a slight amount of surprise, like she wasn't entirely expecting to see you all again. And as you leave the camp, something didn't sit entirely right with you about the meeting. She probed a little too deeply about the Lord of the Keep and whether he was still there, and it almost seems like she has designs on the keep of her own now.
I mean, that's on her. If she feels she can take it, that's on her.
And the weather begins to subside by the time Raazu rendezvous with you all back at camp. But Wendy, the headaches do not. Go ahead and make that wisdom save one more time.
Okay. The direction that I'm getting pulled in. Once they point it out to me, can I tell as well?
Go ahead and make that save first.
You got it. That is an 18.
What bothers you about these headaches is that there has to be something mundane. It has to be so because you're immune to all poisons and all diseases. And as far as Adrex can tell, it's nothing magical, but he's also the most medically trained among you, and he's at a loss to explain it. When they point out that, yeah, you're kind of veering in particular directions, it's kind of like something is pulling you that way, it hits you why that's the case. Because as an Aarakocra, as all avian creatures, you have kind of a sixth sense that you can be drawn... I mean...
I think it's magnetically.
Magnetically,
yeah, the magnetic
but
pole is reversing.
that's not the term that you would use. But you do have a sense that the other PCs don't have. And that's what's acting up. This magnetic
That was a
sense
joke.
that is there to help you in
Migration?
I don't have vocabulary today.
Migration?
I guess. Navigation.
Yeah. Red explains, by the way, that it's magnetically with his associate's degree in electronic arts.
Well, the thing is, like, it's a medieval kind of style campaign. Like, magnets haven't been invented yet, you know. And also, nobody knows how they work.
I'm just explaining that Red is horseshit.
But that's what's acting up. It's this magnetic navigation that you have as a bird creature. Something is pulling on it very, very hard.
Does
And
it
has
feel like
been your whole
as...
journey.
Oh, sorry. Does it feel like as we travel, the direction is shifting a bit? Like we're going east, and now I'm getting pulled a little bit more west or something?
As you head out away from the camp after Raazu returns, experimenting with a little bit, you're not sure you can pinpoint the exact direction on the compass, but you think you could give in to this pull and follow it to its endpoint, or follow it to its origin. Where you'll end up, you're not sure.
I say we at least go find out. We could always change our minds.
Before we go to Breniar or after?
Does it feel like I'm getting further away from it, Breck Road, or closer?
It's difficult to say because you're so far away from Wizard's Folly as it is.
I say we just go check it out now. Maybe it's something that Breniar should know about.
Very well.
Yeah, good point.
Sure.
After a day or two of travel in this new direction, you find the headaches begin to subside as you start to kind of give in to this direction that you're being pulled in. And you leave the mountainous region that the Ice King calls his realm, back out into the wastelands that you crossed on your way here, where you encountered the patrolman. Except now there's a very thick blanket of snow across all of it as you're trudging forward. Well, most of you are trudging. One of you is lucky enough to be driving the sledge.
I'm sorry, I blamed you. The sufficiently powerful lever which will crack open the world.
This is the scene I really wanted Birdie to be here for, because the scene's not going to be as funny without Birdie, sadly.
Oh.
I mean, what can you do, though, right?
Yeah.
It's too bad.
Raazu could take his place and, like, pee on something or something.
Oh, wait, hang on. Let me get a shovel. Let me get a shovel. Lay out, like, 6 miles of tripwire. Get some concertina wire and all that good stuff.
Who is leading the party? One of you is driving the sledge, but is anybody scouting ahead?
Do we know where our head is? Is Birdie holding a pretty constant direction? I'm sorry, is Wendy holding a pretty constant direction?
No. In fact, there's a lot of swerving. What seems to be happening, though, is Wendy is leading you around and through the terrain. Like, avoiding highlands and lowlands, and keeping to these pretty steady snow plains.
Red, I'd
Normally
probably
be
go about.
scouting, but not knowing exactly where we're going, I don't think I want to.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Sounds
yeah.
like an Adrex thing, then. Adrex.
Hey, Adrex.
That's me.
If you used magic to do something physical, would that still count as magic? Like, if I opened up a pit beneath your feet, would Raazu help us prevent it, or no? Because, like, theoretically, there's still just a pit, right? It's not It's not a magic pit. It's just a pit.
And Adrex looks dumbfounded.
Wendy's just thinking about how something could be guiding them to go through, like, mountains and stuff, if it's also a natural phenomenon.
It's magic if something manipulates the phenomenon.
But would it detect us so?
It might.
This is why I need
mean,
to
that's
finish
the-
that correspondence course.
That's the nature of Brick. That's the nature of how quintessence essentially works, right? Is that magic interweaves with things to make it magical?
Is that Adrix's understanding of it?
Sure.
Okay.
That it is now. That's how Adrex understands it.
There you
At
go.
least that's how he's interpreting it.
Seems like he's got a pretty good handle on the situation then.
Maybe how magic works, right, is that everything's magic, and we only detect things as magic if the magic has changed it so that it's sufficiently messed up. But if you were really good at magic, it wouldn't even look like magic anymore because everything's magic, so it would just look normal. And Wendy just points a finger out.
Adrix,
Yes.
dexterity saving throw.
Uh-oh.
To avoid
Plus
Wendy's finger.
This is magic for spell.
Indomitable. That's even worse. Do I take the worst roll on Indomitable?
Nah.
Am I within 5 feet of Raazu? Or 10 feet of Raazu?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Doesn't really matter. It's an 11.
Adrix,
Yeah.
you fall flat on your face in the snow. The rest of you hear, before you even see anything or notice anything, it's getting on into late afternoon, and the weather has been inclement, but it hasn't been terrible today. It hasn't been a lot of snowfall. Just a lot of very cold wind and a very dreary fog hanging in the air for a lot of the day. But there's suddenly a very loud and sharp sound. It sounds almost like a zipping sound. And as Adrix is trudging through the snow in front of him, right where he's walking, shoots into the air in a straight line, maybe 20 feet or so ahead of him. And the shock of it, he loses his feet entirely and falls over forward. And then there are similar sounds all around you. And you see snow firing up into the air.
Raazu draws her weapon.
Okay.
Well, I'll get my prone ass up.
Is this like a flat, even area? Like, what's the terrain like here?
More or less. It's more or less what you see here.
Okay.
Matrix, that's magic though, right?
I think it's just a trap going off.
Magic trap.
You think it might be?
None of you have
the Ice King's minions.
None of you have tremor sense, right?
Nope.
Okay.
No blind sense.
Okay, what's next?
Does it seem like it's...
So, Adrix, you pulled yourself up on the ground. Let's say you're like here, thereabouts. And the snow is just ripped up from the ground in this line ahead of you. And you see it, the same thing happens pretty far off into the distance ahead of you as well.
Like, what I imagine is happening is like a wire has sprung up and it's just all the snow is going with it.
Could be, because as you pull yourself up, there's no wire or anything. Nothing physically impacted you. But you could see like one of Birdie's tripwire tracks causing this effect. And looking at the ground here, you can see just the black stone of the ground beneath the snow. When your footprints come in from the west here, just trailing off into the distance as far as you can see. But this looks like if you just grabbed a spoon and stabbed down and scraped across the snow really hard and really fast.
Oh, okay.
Wendy,
Yeah.
let yourself kind of give yourself over to those headaches and see if that's where we need to be going.
Oh, I mean, I've been doing that this whole time. Is that the way we're meant to be going?
You're pretty sure.
Adrex will-
Yeah, and Wendy will just nod. I mean, it's close enough. Can't hurt to find out what's causing it.
Make a wisdom saving throw, Wendy.
Adrex will just walk along where all of the snow has shot up.
Okay,
All
and
right.
it makes an abrupt turn here.
33.
33.
Yeah.
You can't get a pinpoint on it now. You don't feel the headache anymore. You don't feel that pull.
And Wendy will just shrug to Raazu and say, it's possible we reached, like, the middle point of it? And so now it's in every direction?
All right, Wendy, let's keep going alongside this, and then kind of. It seems to fork now, eh? Right.
It does. Mm-hmm.
And Wendy just shrugs and says, you can see better than me.
Well, I mean, Raazu says it forks right here.
And Adrex, it stops right there.
Does it look like it forks anywhere else? Raazu?
Yeah, Raazu.
I'm wondering if we've reached an epicenter, and we'll now find a bunch of stuff pointing at this location.
Raazu
or if
continues
Raazu-
up this way.
This line ends and it forks again.
But does it continue on in this direction, or is
Nope.
it just?
I mean,
It
you
stops here
saw snow kick up all around you in the area, but in the immediate area, you can see the black stone underneath where the snow has just been pulled away from the earth in this configuration.
Raazu kind of continues alongside the path.
How much snow is in the air brick?
Very little. There hasn't been any snowfall today. Just
Yeah.
a very dense fog that's been hanging in the air.
I'd be doing this with Birdie, but he's not here at the moment. Red, I'm going to lift you for a moment, see if you can get a good look at what the thing is below us. I'm just worried it's one of those glyphs and we're about to get turned into like a frog or something.
Sure.
So you're gonna pick Red up.
Yeah, just bring him high enough to get a look at the ground and then bring him back down because he's kind of heavy.
Red, looking at the ground, when Wendy takes you up, maybe even just 20, 30 feet in the air, looking down, the snow has been ripped away from the earth in such a way to form words in common. The thing that you found that Adrex fell into was an F.
Yeah.
And it's a very simple statement. It says, "The golden hand extends to take your gifts. Flee, flee."
That's going to cover a lot of terrain. If that's the size of the F.
I'll say, wait. I mean, let's listen for now. Let's tell Brennier about this.
Yeah. I think we need to.
Wait, Glenn,
Wait.
Brennier wouldn't be the Golden Hands?
I thought
Mammon.
the golden hand was Mammon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Brennier's a great glimmer. Remember they're biting each other's aesthetic?
Yeah, no. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Wendy lands back down on the ground and dips a claw in the snow real quick, and then turns around to go.
Okay. And Wendy, having taken them on this detour, you were still heading in the same general direction as the Great Glimmer's realm. So you're not way out of your way or anything. But after this encounter, you notice the headaches stop. There's no longer any sort of pull in any particular fashion.
Good to know.
And if our road takes us anywhere near the patrol route of those patrolmen, then we would probably need to make sure that we avoid another encounter with them.
It does. By necessity, you're going to have to cross directly over the patrol route.
Yeah.
So we're heading to Breniers now, to the Wizard's Folly.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Okay.
Back to Wizard's Folly.
And the journey there is as you remember it. When you get to the edges of the realm, the cold and the snowfall melt away. And his realm is green, and it's relatively warm, and it's bright, and there are constant checkpoints, well-manned, heavily armed. Once again, you are asked by the first of these checkpoints to pay tribute.
And I do.
With what?
Present one of the gems from the that we picked up from Castle Vornocht.
Okay. And it is deemed sufficient. And as long as you do no harm to any of Brenier's people, you arrive at Wizard's Folly with no issues. The place is still completely overrun by children. Precarious as always. But it's as warm and welcoming as you recall. And as you arrive, you're quickly ushered back into your guest chambers. Over here in the side of the valley cliff, to rest and forget the weary trail behind you, to bathe and eat, sleep, and Breniar will summon you on the morrow.
What does Thada think about all this?
Thada has taken the entire journey so far in stride. It hasn't been dangerous from the standpoint of having to, encountering any enemies. The only ones you were likely to come across were Lady Elaine and the patrolman, and you were deft enough to avoid both.
Mm-hmm.
Coming into Breniar's realm, though, it's very clear that she's never seen a place like this. She's never seen a world that's green and free of the cold, where the sun dominates the sky. So she's kind of dumbfounded by it.
Not even the beach? Because we did take her out to the beach.
The beach wasn't really real to her. It was a picture. It was a window. It wasn't really there.
Okay.
Wendy tells Thada to ask the children if there's anything she wants to know. And she does mean anything, because this is one of the few opportunities when people will actually tell her things.
Yeah.
And Wendy has found it has treated her well in her life to take advantage of those opportunities.
The afternoon that you arrive, that particular day, she's not going to do anything but collapse in exhaustion and rest.
That's fair. Wendy's a little disappointed in her.
Many of the children here are dying for you to tell them about the adventure that you went on with Nathanax's bow.
I mean, Adrex will gladly tell the children, yeah.
Okay.
And spice it up in a children's story kind of way.
And they hang
Exaggerating.
on his every word. And whenever you tell a part about taking aim and firing with this bow, they all hold their breath. And they clasp their hands when you talk about each felled opponents. And they delight in your stories, but they most delight in the parts where you wield this particular bow in battle. Everybody can take the benefits of the long rest.
And then there was this big frost giant. Just trying to think of how Adrex would tell that
Wendy's
story.
over to the side, basically being the PowerPoint to this story. Like anytime he talks about doing a physical thing, Wendy's demonstrating. No, see, that's not how you hold it. You hold it like this.
The next morning, some of the children show up and kind of usher Thada away from you. You're using the pretense that they want to show her around the area so she can kind of be with people her own age, go off and play. But it's pretty clear to you all that Breniar just does not want her to be in this meeting.
I mean, Raazu will make be a little disappointed at that, but she won't press the issue.
And with that, the little mischievous boy who ushered you back and forth last time you were here tells you that the Great Glimmer awaits you in his solar.
And that's where we go. Or at least that's where Raazu goes. I should speak for everyone else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the path around comes past the gravesite of his son in this little cavern here, where the statue sits, and then across the bridge into this kind of waiting area, and then across the second bridge into the Great Glimmer's chambers. And he is as you remember him, and he's sitting at the same table that was here last time. And he has he smiles when you come in, but it's a sad smile. And he says, "Please come in and tell me what happened with the Lady of Voronoct." And you recall that this woman, at one time, she and Breniar were friends. She was betrothed to his son. They were close.
Can we have brought the harp up with us as we go?
I mean, sure. Adrex and Raazu could probably just carry it themselves.
Raazu's up to an 18 strength, so yeah, maybe. That's what she got. That's what she got at her last level.
The whole previous day, the kids would have been clamoring for one of you to play it for them.
None of us is a.
Probably would have been Adrex. Adrex, the closest thing they could get to playing a musical instrument.
Adrex, if it helps, I can give you a small hammer to hit the strings with.
Why would that help?
Because he knows how to play the piano.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I got it.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
But
No, that made perfect sense, Red.
So what do you tell Breniar about the way that Lady Sana ended?
I see no reason to hold anything back. I say we tell the whole tale.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we come to the end of it, Raazu will gesture to the harp and say, "This and the staff that Wendy carried, that the pattern which is formed as the wind blows over the sand. That's these are the only things that remain of her."
She seems sad. It was weird
Yeah.
because she's a lich, but she seems sad.
Breniar tells you that some minds are made for the endless march of time, to see thousands of years stretch before and behind you. And it's wearying, even for creatures such as him, for a mortal creature like Lady Sana to take to take that role on herself. He could not imagine the anguish. But
the last thing she did was to recreate the world as it was to her inside the castle, and then when she left, it all went away.
And when you say that, he leans back in his chair and he crosses his fingers together and he closes his eyes and he asks you to describe that place.
And Raazu will. She'll talk about the courtiers in the throne room. She'll talk about the kids, sparring in the yard. How this place was green and verdant during the time that she was active.
Everybody who's not Raazu, let's get an insight check, please.
Why do I bother rolling? What the...
I want to make a custom D20 just for McDohl that just says no on all 20 sides.
That would be an insight of 30.
30. Red, at first you're thinking that this is just a moment of nostalgia for Brenier. This is just he wants to know if the Voronoct in Lady Sana's mind, the one that she created with illusions, was the same keep as he would have visited way back before the Cataclysm. But as Raazu's descriptions roll on, and she's not getting anything wrong. You guys were in that castle for several days, following her from room to room and seeing her works. But watching Brenniar's response, this seems a little indulgent, even for him.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to be reveling in this description, and you're not really sure why, but that doesn't sit right with you. And Raazu, you come to the end of the description, and Breniar says, I mean, he admitted before you all left that he didn't quite know how the Lich was going to react when you brought her forth from her slumber. It was possible that she would have been lost to madness, and perhaps in a way she was. Or perhaps we shall look at it as this is the most humane way that her story could have ended. Her long battles finally come to a close, and now she is at peace. And then he turns to Wendy.
Mm-hmm.
And you found an artifact in that place that belonged to her family.
And Wendy presents the staff.
Brenier reaches his hand across the table and beckons for it.
Mm-hmm. I'll hand it over. He knows how to use it better than I do.
He takes it up. Wendy, did you attempt to attune to the staff?
I did, and it didn't work.
Okay. He pulls the staff across the table and takes it up in both hands and sits back in his chair. And his fingers just tracing the filigree, the design around the wooden length of it that's spiraling around. He says that there was a time before the Cataclysm where humans and elves and dwarves alike were able to wield magics as easily as all of you wield your weapons. No doubt, Wendy, in your capable hands, this staff is a very deadly weapon indeed, but to unlock the magics that reside inside of it, he takes it and he turns and stands and walks back towards this window. And he leans on it. And he puts his weight on it.
On the staff?
Yes.
And Wendy turns to the others and goes, "Look, told you."
Raazu watches him.
He seems to be lost in thought for a few moments. And then he kind of half turns and looks back. He says, "Forgive me. This artifact was too powerful for mortals to bear, even before the cataclysm. The likes of Lady Sana's family, they should never have had it to begin with. At least now I can entrust that Mammon will not be able to use it in the cataclysm to come. And he thanks you for bringing it to him."
Hold up. You taking that staff?
And he nods. He says, "I don't think any of you, well, if Birdie were here." No, he said, "I don't think any of you would be able to unlock the latent magics in the staff. I don't think the peoples of the world after the cataclysm have that capability." But I've seen stranger things happen in the world. And he recounts some of the tales that he's heard of people wakening to magic, finding strange marks on their body, the likes of which you know. He tells you, or he asks you rather, who would you trust with such a power?
Wendy raises her hand. You can only trust yourself fully. And anyone who says they wouldn't trust themselves just hasn't learned themselves enough.
And he motions to Adrex. So you wouldn't trust Adrex with the staff, if he had the
Adrex,
power
would you
to
trust
wield it.
yourself with the staff?